The US Army has tried to replace the Bradley for over 30 years. Multiple programs, multiple concepts, and multiple failures. And yet, the Bradley is still here, still deployed, still upgraded, still fighting. In an era dominated by drones, top attack weapons, and precision-guided strikes, many people assume the Bradley is outdated. A vehicle designed for a battlefield that no longer exists. But the latest upgrade tells a very different story. Because what changed isn't just firepower, it's how the Bradley survives modern war. The Bradley infantry fighting vehicle entered service in the early 1980s, during a very different era of warfare. It was designed to move infantry alongside tanks, provide direct fire support, and survive Cold War battlefields shaped by massed armor, artillery, and rigid front lines. A world where threats were predictable, and the battlefield moved slowly. Over time, the Bradley proved itself in real combat. From Desert Storm to Iraq, it adapted to environments it was never originally designed for. Urban combat, asymmetric threats, improvised explosive devices, each conflict left its mark on the vehicle, but success came at a cost. Armor was added, systems multiplied, weight increased, and as the battlefield evolved, new threats began to emerge. Threats that didn't exist when the Bradley was first conceived. Today, critics point to the vehicle's age, its size, and its vulnerability to modern weapons. Drones overhead, top attack munitions, loitering weapons that wait patiently for exposure. At the same time, newer infantry fighting vehicles appeared, especially in Europe, raising a fair and unavoidable question. Why is the US Army still relying on the Bradley? For years, even the Army itself struggled to answer that. The latest Bradley upgrades are not about reinventing the vehicle, they're about keeping it alive. The focus shifted toward three priorities: survivability, power, and awareness. Armor protection was reinforced, not based on theory, but on decades of real combat experience. The vehicle's structure was strengthened to better handle blast threats, battlefield stress, and the realities of modern engagements. But protection alone is no longer enough. Power generation was expanded to support a new class of onboard systems. Not just engines and mobility, but the digital demands of modern warfare. Modern armored vehicles are no longer purely mechanical platforms. They are power-hungry, networked systems that depend on sensors, communications, and constant data flow. And perhaps most importantly, the Bradley gained improved sensors and battlefield connectivity. This wasn't a cosmetic update. It was a structural response to how war is actually fought today. When people talk about armored vehicles, they almost always focus on weapons, bigger guns, higher caliber, more firepower. It's an instinctive way to judge combat vehicles, and for decades, it made sense. But modern warfare has changed that equation. Firepower still matters, but it no longer decides survival on its own. A vehicle that can't detect a threat doesn't get the opportunity to return fire. And in modern combat, the first side to see, identify, and react usually controls the engagement. This is where the Bradley's evolution becomes less obvious, and far more important. The real upgrade isn't what the Bradley can destroy. It's how it understands the battlefield around it. Modern infantry fighting vehicles are no longer isolated platforms operating on limited information. They are sensor nodes, collecting data, sharing it across units, and operating as a part of a wider combat network. The Bradley's upgrade reflects that shift. By improving situational awareness and connectivity, the vehicle reduces the chance of being surprised and increases the chances of surviving long enough to fight back. In modern warfare, that difference is often measured in seconds, and those seconds matter. Drones have transformed ground warfare in ways few armored vehicle designers originally anticipated. They don't just strike targets, they observe them. They track movement patterns, they identify exposed positions, and they wait for the right moment. In this environment, concealment is no longer permanent, and surprise is increasingly difficult to achieve. This reality has forced every modern military to rethink how ground vehicles survive. No armored platform is immune, and the Bradley is no exception. The latest upgrade does not make the Bradley invincible. That promise doesn't exist in modern war. What it does instead is far more realistic. It improves awareness, it shortens reaction time, and it allows the vehicle to operate as part of a larger defensive ecosystem. Rather than facing threats alone, the Bradley works alongside air defense systems, electronic warfare assets, and supporting units. Survivability is no longer about resisting every hit. It's about avoiding exposure, breaking tracking cycles, and staying operational longer than the enemy expects. This shift, from armor-centric survival to system-level survival, is what defines modern ground warfare, and it's where the Bradley still fits. The reason the Bradley remains in service isn't nostalgia, and it isn't resistance to change, it's practicality. Replacing an entire armored fleet is one of the most complex and expensive processes any military can undertake. It takes decades, not years. Upgrading a proven platform, on the other hand, allows capability to be improved immediately, without rewriting doctrine, retraining crews, or rebuilding logistics from the ground up. This is where the Bradley serves a critical role. It acts as a bridge between legacy systems and fully networked next-generation platforms still under development. The Bradley supports infantry in the same operational roles commanders already understand. It integrates with modern sensors and communication systems, and it operates alongside tanks without forcing a fundamental shift in how combined arms warfare is executed. Is it perfect? No. Is it a long-term solution? Also no. But relevance in modern warfare isn't about being permanent. It's about being adaptable enough to survive and effective enough to matter until the next system is truly ready. The Bradley isn't the future of infantry fighting vehicles, but it was never meant to be. Its role today is simpler and more demanding: to survive, to adapt, and to remain effective in a battlefield that no longer rewards brute force alone. Until its true replacement arrives, the Bradley will continue to evolve. And as long as it does, it will remain far more dangerous than it looks.